So this recording is going to show you how to use the selection tools. So if we take a look, the first ones we're going to talk about are the marquee tools. And these marquee tools are located right over here in Photoshop on the tool menu. And we have a rectangular marquee and the elliptical marquee tool. They also work with these options right up here, which are your four boxes, which allow you to add or subtract to your selections. So if we start off with a simple selection over here, we can then add to it by using this add button over here. This is your add to selection box. This is your new selection every time, and here is your subtract from selection. It's the same thing in all the selection tools. So if we overlap it, notice it's going to add on to our selections. To deselect and make the marching ants go away, you press Command D. So if we take a look at some of these objects, we have a circle here, and if we start with the elliptical marquee tool, we can use the space bar to move it into place. And there we have a selection of our beach ball. And we press Command D again to deselect. Now we also have the lasso tools. We have the regular lasso tool, which allows you to do a free form selection right there. That's, if you have a very steady hand. We also happen to have the polygonal lasso tool, which is actually very helpful when you have angular selections. So notice you get the little icon. I'm going to go right down here, and I'm going to make a quick selection just by clicking. So with that point, you're going to click, and every time you get to a point or an angle, you're going to click with your mouse. Click here, and up again. This gives you a lot of control. I think it's one of the selection tools that gives you the most control, and you make your way all the way around. And notice how you have that little circle right there? That tells you you're going to close your selection, and there you have your selection of your stop sign. So you also have your magnetic lasso tool, which will allow you to cling to the edge of an object. So if we take a look at this donut over here, notice how you have the magnet, click on the edge, and move your cursor around the edge of your donut. Now if it goes a little haywire like that, you can press delete a couple times and go back if you need to. If it goes crazy, you can always double click and start again. Make our way all the way around. We get to the beginning, we get that little circle again, and we close our selection. If we wanted to subtract this center piece in here, you could press Alt on your keyboard, click on your mouse, and then drag around. Notice how you get that little minus sign there. And there we have just the donut. Okay, so we're going to deselect again. Now we also have something called the quick selection tool on the magic wand. Now the quick selection tool, you get the same add and subtract options up here. It works like a brush. You can press the bracket keys to make it bigger and the bracket keys to make it smaller. Now this is very helpful when you're selecting areas of color or something that has a well-defined area, and all you do is use it as a brush. I recommend doing that a little bit at a time, and just click and drag as you're moving around your object. And this doesn't work very well with objects that have a similar background because it'll just fly into that edge. Notice how easy that was to make that selection. Now we also have the magic wand tool, and this selects areas of color. So tolerance up here the higher your tolerance, the more range of values it will select. So say we wanted to select, we want to maybe do this leaf over here. If we click, notice it gets a portion of the area. We're going to have add because we're going to add on to our selection, and we're going to continue to click. Now I'm going to up my tolerance just a little bit, and I'm going to continue. Notice how it selects more areas of color, and it pretty much has the whole thing selected. And then we could click in here. I recommend zooming in a little bit when you're trying to get really thin areas. And there we have our leaf as well. Now if you wanted to make a further, better selection, we could use Refine Edge, or we can set it up on a white background or a black background, and we can see we can use Smooth to smooth the edges. We can use Contrast to change the difference between the background, and have Photoshop to side, and Shift Edge we can drag to the left to contract our selection. Click OK, and there we have a pretty good selection. So those are pretty much the selection tools in a nutshell. Feel free to look at this as many times as you need. See the next tutorial for the Refine Edge with selecting fuzzy things.